targets and timeframes on combating climate change.
We can no longer afford any further delays in mitigating the effect of climate change. African countries are losing between 3 to 5% of their GDP due to the effects of climate change. There is consensus from across the board that just transitions must be just, and they must also be inclusive, which is particularly important for developing economic countries, which are the worst affected by climate change.
President Cyril Ramaphosa has called on developed countries to stick to their promises. The developed North has promised to help the developing South to implement the just energy transition.
For transitions to be just, vulnerable workers and vulnerable communities need to be included in designing just solutions. The South African Cabinet recently endorsed our National Just Energy Transition Investment Plan as a basis for our pathway towards a low-carbon, climate-resilient society. And according to the plan, South Africa will need approximately $98 billion to correct an error that I made, not 98 trillion, but $98 billion over the next 5 years to enable a just transition and achieve the ambitious targets we set out in our nationally determined contribution.
The developing nations have slammed wealthy countries and oil companies for driving global warming.
Rwanda, like the rest of Africa, is ready to prioritize renewable energy. We do this for our own future. The point is not to generate carbon credits so that others can continue using coal, even as Africa is discouraged from exploiting its fossil fuel resources. The most valuable contribution that developed countries can make is to reduce their emissions faster while investing with Africa to build sustainable green power.
Alors nous devons bien nous entendre. Nous sommes pour le climat.
Let's be clear. We are for the climate. We are in favor of reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. But for Africa, we cannot accept that our vital interests are undermined on the matter of energy transition.
Meanwhile, the UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has urged world leaders to work together to ensure that the world does not warm up more than 1.5 degrees and warned that the planet is on a highway to climate hell without an urgent action. Khumalo, SABC News, Johannesburg.